And welcome to episode 80 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for this week, Sean, editor-in-chief of the site, and I'm joined by Deputy Managing Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Todd?
I'm good.
So you have returned from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a
When
little...
did I get back? Sometime last week.
Yeah, sometime last week. I think you got back
Friday.
on Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Wednesday night.
But yes, so you were over in Spain for Mobile World Congress, which will be the driving force of this episode. However, we're going to start with a funny story. So this morning, Amazon announces the new Echo products.
Uh-huh.
And
which it's the Dot, it's the Echo Dot and the Amazon Tab. Real quick, we'll just sum it up. The Dot is like you plug it into existing set of speakers. It's like a little puck, and that becomes an Amazon Echo. I'm like talking quietly because I'm so afraid I'm going to say the command to turn mine on or whatever. And then the other one is Amazon Tap. It's like a portable one, but you have to like tap it. You can't just say the command.
Oh wait, so there's no speakers in the Dot?
No.
Ooh,
It plugs into your speakers.
Ooh, I don't know if I have any speakers to plug it into.
Unless I misunderstood, but I think it does. I'm pretty sure.
All right, I'm probably wrong. Anyway,
all right. So the funny story is how you ordered yours.
So I'm at my office. My house is on the same piece of property, but it's a little ways away. And so my Echo's at home. I'm here. Oh, the only way you can order the Dot right now is by ordering through the Echo. I have drop cams. So I logged into my drop cam and spoke through the drop cam to the Echo and told the Echo to order the Dot.
I love it.
So on one monitor, I'm watching, I've got two drop cams in my house, but one's a little ways away from her. One is nearer to the Echo, but you can't see it. So I was speaking through the one near it, but watching through the other one so I could see if the lights came on.
That's amazing.
And I spoke through the drop cam to the Echo and told it to order the Dot. Well, I didn't want to wait till I got home and get placed that much further back in the line.
Right. That's what I was thinking, actually. I was like, I mean, it's terrible. Like, oh, I got to get it as fast as possible. But I mean, it was like when the Echo came out, it was like just for Prime customers. And then there was a long wait for a while. And I love it. I really, really like it so much that I was like, oh, well, if there's going to be like a super long wait for it, I might as well get my order in now because.
Yeah. Now, what
the other thought I had is like, why shouldn't I just buy another Amazon Echo though?
Yeah.
I mean, I do have better speakers in my bedroom. Like, it's like a Bluetooth speaker. And it's just better than the Amazon Echo one. So I was like, well, I guess.
Oh, I know what speaker I have. It will connect via Bluetooth. When I went to that party with you last year at CES, they gave us that little speaker.
Oh, yeah. The little Samsung little
thing. I can use that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I've really fallen in love with the Echo. And then, of course, there's news you're going to be writing up a little bit later that Nest is going to work with the Echo soon. Yeah. And I just switched the thermostats in my house to Nest. So perfect timing.
Really cool. That's really cool one. I don't have a Nest here, but my father-in-law does. Well, maybe it's time to get them an Echo.
Hook up your Echo to their Nest thermostat at the beach house.
Set it from here.
Just start screwing with them.
Yeah.
And changing the temperature on them. But, so anyway, I was laughing at myself as I placed my order over the drop cam.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you couldn't do that 2 years ago.
No,
you couldn't do that a year ago.
And the camera I was speaking through is the one that watches my dogs. And so my dogs were looking up like, what
the heck is going on?
Why can we hear him? He's not here.
That's awesome.
Oh, crazy world of technology, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So moving on to Mobile World Congress. Mm-hmm. So you're over there in Spain. You took Ron Parita with you.
Yep.
And, well, you didn't take him with you. You met there.
I met him there. Yeah. He's coming from LA.
Yes. And, no, actually, it was just totally random that you two ran into each other in Spain. Ron, Todd.
What's going on?
What are you doing here? So what was, there were several things announced at Mobile World Congress. You had, the Galaxy S7, the S7 Edge, the LG G5. There was a whole bunch of stuff. So what really stood out to you as the big?
That's like tough question, and I think what stood out the most, if I'm looking back on Mobile World Congress, it was like that everybody wants to do VR, and we talked a little bit about that. That it's everybody from HTC, which we already know, with high-end stuff with the Vive, down to cardboard, but then a step above cardboard with what LG is trying to do with the G5, and that's like, well, we don't know how much it costs, but it's a very cheap feeling, and it has a lot of light bleed and stuff, but headset. So VR everywhere, and that brings me to the other thing. I was very impressed with the G5. I liked it a lot. I personally have already ordered the Galaxy S7 Edge, and that's just because it sort of came out. I know it came out. I mean, it's available first. I think we're going to wait till like April for the G5. My favorite part of the G5, well, there were two favorite parts. One, that they went with this modularity, right? That you can add the camera sort of, it's like a camera add-on, I don't know, but it's got a dedicated zoom key and capture button and an extra battery, which I think brings it up to 4,000 milliamp hours. That's cool. And then there's also like a Harman Kardon audio module to boost your audio. That's all very cool, but to me, it's like, personally, I don't care about the audio stuff because I can rarely tell a difference, like unless it's like really, really bad. And then the camera module thing is something I would never carry. Because I have a point and shoot, or not a point and shoot, it's the Sony A6000 that I just like. So like, just a personal opinion, like what do I want to carry out of the two? I was like, I'm kind of leaning to the S7 Edge. But the G5 is awesome, and I think a lot of people are gonna like it. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I saw. The one product that's sort of sticking in my head is the Huawei MateBook, because it was just this really thin Windows 10 device, and I'm not so sure I want that. I kind of like more excited about the Tab Pro S that was introduced at CES from Samsung. It's the same idea, and that's supposed to be coming out, hopefully soon, sometime this spring. So long answer, lots of stuff.
I real quick took a look. Yes, you're right. There are no speakers in the Dot.
There we go.
So as usual, you were right. I was wrong. It'd be nice if it had speakers, but
yeah, like a little tiny one. That's kind of actually strange.
Yeah, I think next time the regular Echo goes on sale, I'll probably pick up another one and then kick myself for doing so. But, well, unlike you, I have, a house, so I'm not always near the Echo.
Echo, right. Yeah, mine can be accessed from pretty much anywhere.
So now, not every phone that was debuted, you actually got to pick up and hold, because demo units and all that. So did you actually get to play with the G5? I can't remember.
Yeah. I played with all the big phones there.
Okay. So how was the modularity?
It's cool. It's all based on, like, I guess the best way to say is like watch our video, but it's kind of finicky, right? Like, it's not hot swappable or anything like that. You pull, I don't want to say finicky, but like, say, like, here's my iPhone for people watching. You pull out the bottom, it's just like pops off, right? And then the bottom still has the battery attached into it. And then you like sort of, you pop out the battery and you add this other module. So maybe it's like, the camera one, or maybe it's the, was it Harman Kardon? I forget who made it, but Bang & Olufsen is the partnership there. And you attach that into the battery, and then you slide the whole thing back up into the phone. So it's not something you do like while the phone's on. It's not like, oh, let's add this little module, but it's cool. The only thing is, it's really hard for me until the review and stuff like that is to judge like all of this without knowing a price. Like, is this camera module $200 or is it $40? Like, I don't know. And so I can't say like, oh, everybody's going to love this, because I mean, a lot of people, $200 is a lot of money. And you go into the store, you sort of like, for whatever reason, everybody still uses that $200 figure from the 2-year contracts, right? So you're like, oh, a flagship phone is probably like $200. So if you see like this little accessory for the phone is $200, you're like, what the heck? I don't know. I think it's sort of an uphill battle that LG is going to face, but I love that they're the first ones on the market thinking about this and doing it.
Right. And that does bring us back around to we have a question here from Sachin Bahal about, let me find it here. Do we know anything about Project Ara? And the G5, for those that aren't familiar with Project Ara, it's a Google project. Although I know there's some weirdness about who actually owns it. But anyway, it's considered a Google project. And it's supposed to be a completely modular phone that you can, hot swap out, the camera unit or the battery or, whatever number of modules. So Project Ara keeps getting delayed. We were supposed to already have a test launch in Puerto Rico that didn't happen. So do you think this is LG building off of that idea, although it's not nearly as modular, or was this just a natural progression of phones?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think my gut reaction is LG seeing that and thinking, oh, that's great. This is what the evolution is. Because when LG was talking to us, sort of on the record now, but pre-briefs, they were saying, look, every phone's like good enough these days, these flagships, right? The camera's good enough. The battery's good enough, blah, blah, blah. The screen's good enough. And that's true. And so they're like, well, what do we do?
I would argue the battery part, but.
Well, maybe they didn't say battery. Yeah, because they're, they have hot swap or not hot swap, but swappable batteries. So anyway, they so they're like, what do we do? And so this is like their way to stand out. And I think it's a good idea. And so it's like they're calling them friends. So they have, the camera friend, the Bang & Olufsen audio friend, the 360 camera friend, and like the 360 camera doesn't plug into it, but it's still like, so they're creating this ecosystem of things. They have that robotic ball that's probably like this big. It looks like a little bowling ball that goes around your house, and you can talk through it. It's got a live video feed, and you can turn on a laser to play with your cats, which I thought was so stupid, but I guess you can do that if you want to. So there is that, and it's like, and I think that strategy is really cool, like this ecosystem of things, because like we've been saying, is phones, like how much better can the screen get on a phone, or how much better can the camera get? Where, I mean, they're always going to get better, right? Because you still have, like, I still carry a separate camera for like photos. Like when I'm on vacation, I want really good ones, but that'll filter down. But at one point is like, do consumers care anymore? They're like, this is good enough, and like, okay, it's going to get slightly better, but what else is driving me to upgrade my phone or bringing me in for more? And I think that's what LG's doing with this. I think it's what Samsung's doing with the Edge on their phones. It's like something a little bit different. The water resistance, like, pretty dumb, but I think, for the most of us, like, we're like, oh, who cares about water resistance? I personally like being able to take it in the pool in the summer. And I think also people care about their phones lasting longer. And if they're like, oh, well, this is, it can go in the rain, it can fall in the toilet, and it's not going to be ruined, then, that's an added benefit.
I'm sorry, if my phone falls into the toilet, even if it is water resistant, it's ruined.
Right. Well, I mean, a clean toilet.
Even then, I'd still be like, ooh.
Oh, gross. But I mean, you're okay. You're pushed in the pool or something.
Okay, that works.
So I think everybody's trying to stand out, and the problem, like we've talked about, is that there's not much these companies can do anymore. I mean, you got a gold phone, you got a metal phone, everybody's got a gold phone, everybody's got a metal phone, everybody's got a nice screen, everybody's got a good camera. So what do you do? And that's what's happening with LG. I think that's why it was going modular.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's a great idea, although I do think the name Friends is ridiculous. But
yeah, that was very weird.
Yeah, that was an odd choice. It's my camera friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea, and I like the idea that maybe 6 months down the road, a better camera comes out, and I can just go, oh, well, okay, and buy that new module and slap that in, whenever I want to use it.
That's what I think is going to be the real value for consumers, but that's not where LG is yet. It's like, it's just upgrading small things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and that's what Project Ara is doing, like upgrade the processor, even upgrade whatever.
If Project Ara ever comes to fruition, I keep hoping.
I know, me too.
But we'll see. Well, so I know we can't speak, and folks, please, as always, let me put a caveat on all of this. None of what is being said today can be considered the reviews of these products, because we have not had them for a long enough time. If we've even had them, a lot of this is just holding them on the show floor.
Well, the S7 Edge is out for T-Mobile customers.
Yes,
I don't have one.
Right.
So I'm not on T-Mobile, but I did order one on 18th.
Yeah, but do not consider any of these reviews. So
right.
S7, I've seen the pictures, but you've seen it in person.
Mm-hmm.
Is it as similar to the S6 as we thought it was?
Yes. Yeah, it is. But again, it kind of goes back to what we talked about before. It was like I don't, if I had an S6, I don't think I'd upgrade. Like if I bought one and I owned it, but I didn't buy one and last year, and I was like, oh well, I'm up for an upgrade. I like the whole Gear VR thing. It's just a nice added benefit. It's $100, and it comes free if you pre-order it, which is another reason why I pre-ordered it. And for me, it's always been important to me. I like expandable storage. I'm like the only person on the planet who cares about it. Among like reviewers, I feel like so many people are like 32 gigs is fine. And it's not for me. I don't know. Maybe I just like storing a lot of Spotify music, getting on the plane and like, having 20 movies to pick from for whatever reason. And lots of games, which is why I bought the 128 gig iPhone too. It's like the same dumb reason. But anyway, I like expandable storage. I'm really happy they added that. And again, it's like, for me, it's fun in the summer. I don't know why, but I'm always like fascinated with the waterproofing of phones or water resistance. So like I like jumping in the pool and taking pictures. That was like my favorite thing to do with the Moto G last year when it came out. And I'm always looking forward to like the Samsung Active phones for the same reason. So I don't know. I was like, okay, it's got all that. It's got the expandable storage, blah, blah, blah. I like it. And the S6, held up really, really well into this year. Like I was saying, like, dude, we don't even need one. It's so good still. So I felt like, all right, this is a good phone for a year. So,
Quick interruption. Disney, we already wrote up the story because the Disney store had, but they have now just officially announced Star Wars The Force Awakens will hit digital downloads on April 1st, and the Blu-ray release will happen on April 5th.
It's awesome. That means I'll get to watch it because I haven't seen it yet.
You still haven't seen it?
No, I know. I'm like the only person on the planet.
Oh, good grief. Well, what's nice is I'll be in Irvine that week. I fly out of Irvine on April 2nd, so I know what I'm watching on the flight home.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I have to take 2 flights that day, so probably watch it twice. But so, and as to the S7 Edge, I still, I go back and forth on the whole concept of the Edge. Is it really that useful? Is it really?
No, I got it because I like bigger screens. But though I know I've said recently, I was digging the smaller displays on a lot of phones. And then when I was in Barcelona, I had a chance to use like Xperia Z5 Compact, the A9, and like all these phones that I reviewed or used and like hadn't used in a while. And I was like, oh my God, the battery just did not hold up as well as these bigger phablets. So that's why I also bought the S7 Edge.
Now, what do you think about this movement towards these always-on screens? I know they're saying, oh, it's going to save you battery life. I still have trouble believing that.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's neat, but I don't need it. I get it, but like on Reddit, for example, they're saying like third-party apps don't always work with always-on display, like all over the place. It's mainly to show you like the calendar or like the clock, like super simple things. So for people that don't wear watches, like, here I am, I'm just like turning on my iPhone, check the time. Like people do this a lot, right? And they're saying it saves you battery life to not do that. Just look at your phone and put it back down. And, okay, I guess so. Like, it's neat. And I think it's because the displays can do it now that they're adding it. But, I don't know. For me, it's not a must-have.
Once again, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Right. It does look cool, though, because, like, if you have it on the desk and you have, like, stars or something like that as the background, it looks kind of neat. But it knows when it's not, like, out around you. So, like, if it's in your pocket, it's not always on.
Yeah. So, well, was there anything, not the big flagships that really stuck out to you as you were walking around MWC?
No, I mean we were limited just, but there's only 2 of us there, so we didn't get a ton of time to like check out every last thing. But we did, the flagships were cool, and again, the mate book is sort of like I went to the Huawei press conference, and maybe I was just silly or stupid or whatever, but I thought we were going to get a new phone, and it was the mate book, and so I was like, oh, Windows 10, and Huawei's going to bring that to the United States. It starts at $699. I don't know. I thought it was cool. Like I really like these super thin Windows 10 tablets, and you can bet that's probably the next thing on my list of purchases when they come out. Because if the keyboard's good, because the Surface Pro 3 is cool, but these are even thinner, and I don't know. I really like Windows 10. So that was like sort of the surprise, I guess.
So you're the one guy.
Yeah, I am the one guy. I do though. Like this is my primary computer is Windows 10, and I like it a lot. And I wish there was a mobile experience to go along with that. That was better than Windows 10 for phones.
Well, moving into the questions that have been coming in from Sachin Bahal. Hey Todd, what was your favorite thing from MWC 2016? I know you've talked about the things you've already that you played with, but what was the one thing you walked away? I know you ordered a Galaxy S7, but was there any one thing that you walked away going, wow, that was awesome?
I think it was the G5. I think I walked away from that saying, wow, that was awesome. I don't think it's for me, like I was saying, and I don't know, like, give me time to review it, because I don't even have it yet. I've only seen it on the show floor and played with it in our briefings, but I think I walked away from that like, wow, that's a really cool idea. I really like where LG is going. And I don't think, going into it, there were all these rumors it was going to be called the Magic Slot or whatever it was. And the funny thing is, LG's like, we've never called it that. Like, they were saying, like, even though the rumors said that, like, that's not what it was called internally or anything. So I was kind of like going into it like, meh, who cares? That's kind of stupid. And then the rumors were sort of so off base in the sense of explaining it, good enough that I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. Well, I'm excited to try all these phones. I'm about the last person at TechnoBuffalo to try all the phones. So
the other cool thing is it's got a super wide angle rear camera. There's 2 on the back, and one of them super wide, like more than it's really neat to play with because it's like more than you can see. It goes beyond your own.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Anyway, it's neat.
From Jeff K. Todd, I will buy your movie tickets to go see it. Go see Star Wars. Amazing and awesome movie.
Yeah, I'll see it.
John actually did that to me once. I hadn't had a chance to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I was out in Irvine doing some work, and he's like, "Are you going to go to Guardians of the Galaxy?" I was like, "I'm busy. I don't know what I'm going to do." And about 10 minutes later, he goes, "Check your email." This was in a text. I checked my email, and he bought me a ticket on Fandango. I was like, I guess awesome. I'm going to Guardians of the Galaxy this afternoon.
That's awesome.
Oh, good grief. From Brazen Franco, did you visit the Ubuntu booth at MWC? In my opinion, Canonical did the right move by making sure that desktop program would run even on ARM-based system when converging to desktop mode without requiring devs to rewrite their apps like MS does.
Yeah. I didn't walk by the booth. In fact, I didn't really know much about their news until after the fact, which is kind of a bummer. But I agree, that's really cool, and it's one of the things that like I'm hoping the like the Surface phone or whatever is capable of doing. And I don't know if it's going to be off the bat, but basically like converting. You take an app. For Windows, it would be like converting from 32-bit down to an ARM-based system, which would be, I don't know, probably impossible for a lot of them, but really awesome that like, you could plug your phone in and, like what you do with Windows 10 on Lumia 950, you plug your phone in, you can run Continuum apps, but there's still like Windows phone apps. And some of them like Skype or I don't know if Spotify was there yet. Anyway, they had to be rewritten to run across like all these products. Well, ARM sort of just runs right on the desktop, which is awesome. That's what I want the Surface phone to be able to do. Yeah. It's almost like cram the Surface Pro 3 into a phone. That's what I want. And what I think it seems like Ubuntu or Canonical is able to pull off with some of their Ubuntu stuff.
Yeah, and that's one thing, everyone. Yes, there's always lots and lots of news at these shows. We don't get by every booth, unfortunately. We all wish we did, but It's like at CES, I doubt I even saw a tenth of the show.
Yeah,
it's crazy. How big is the MWC floor show? I've never been over there, so I don't know.
It's really, really big.
Well, I mean, is it akin to CES? Smaller, bigger?
Oh, I don't know if it's bigger. There's a lot of people. I don't know. It's crazy though. And thankfully now, it used to be in like all these halls and this huge strip of buildings. Now it's one building, but you can walk seemingly forever straight. And it's like hall 1, and hall 2, and there's top floor and bottom floor. Hall 3, top floor, and it goes all the way down to 8. So it's massive. And the other thing about Mobile World Congress, and for that matter, IFA, a lot of this stuff too is not always on site. So, some press conferences might be, but others aren't. So it's not like, you go to the show floor. For us this year, it's like you go to the show floor after. Like let's get all the stuff that we didn't see in press conferences. And the press conferences themselves were, elsewhere. 20 minutes away, 40 minutes away in the case of Samsung, 45 minutes away from. I mean, actually, probably further, probably a good hour from the actual conference center.
I know this was discussed in the videos, and you explained
and this is
it
by
to me.
subway. But
why did you and Ron end up on bikes?
So every single year in Barcelona, it seems like every year, this was my 6th or 7th time there, they say there's like a threat of a transit strike. And they do it during Mobile World Congress because the city's jam-packed with tourists. And so a transit strike, and one of the main ways to get to the conference center is to take a subway to the train station. Everybody jams on the train, or you take a taxi. Those are the two ways to get there. And the traffic's really bad, especially in the morning, like any city. So trains. And so you take the subway to get there. And so there's this transit strike. It's perfect time, bus too. And so if they shut that down, what do? You got to walk or get a bike. And so we were thinking, well, if that happens, we can bike there. It's 5 kilometers away. It'd be a fun ride. Well, turns out the transit strike actually meant this year, anyway, it meant instead of running every 2 minutes, and the transit in Barcelona is amazing, it's a great city. Instead of running every 2 minutes, it was like every 4 minutes. But by that point, we'd already talked about it as a backup plan to ride these bikes. And Ron Perita, our cameraman, was like, that would look great on video. And so we were like, well, let's still do the bikes. And it actually took about the same amount of time, 15, 20 minutes to get there, and it was a lot of fun. So, but unfortunately, I don't even know if I told you this. We get there, we get to the conference, and this year, for the first time ever, you have to have your passport on you to get your badge, which is crazy because there's always the threat of pickpocketing in Barcelona, especially during this time. And so, I never carry my passport. I've had, obviously, I've had my issues with passports, Sean, you know that, but I always leave it in my room, hidden, right? So we get to the conference after riding bikes, and they're like, "Oh, you need your passport." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So it's a new rule this year. So I had to take a taxi back, and then it's only 3 miles. So the taxi, back home and there was only a half hour for the whole thing. But I was just like, I just rode my bike here, and now I gotta go home. So
good grief.
Anyway, stories from behind the scenes.
I will tell you off podcast what I do with my passports. When I go to England, I never leave my room without my passport because, not that I have ever been stopped by the police, but should I ever be stopped by the police,
right,
they can demand it from you at any time. So I'll discuss different ways to carry it with you. But I'm not going to say on air.
I actually got a new bag, and it was sort of it's not a knockoff, but it's a different model from a more popular company that makes Saddleback bags. That's the company. And Saddleback, not the one that I own, but Saddleback has a secret compartment in the bottom of the bag. You lift up a flap of leather where you can hide your passport, which I thought was cool. But I don't own that bag.
Yeah, I've always been worried about pickpockets. No matter where I am in the world, I worry about pickpockets.
Yeah, same here. I mean, living in New York City, you're always thinking about it.
Yeah.
But in Barcelona, it's a thing. You're always targeted.
Yeah. Well, you were targeted in Vegas as well this year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Left my backpack somewhere.
That's a story for another day. From Such a Mahal, did you guys watch Fuller House, and did any of you watch the original series? Funny you should ask this because we were just discussing this morning.
Yeah.
When Todd made a somebody joke.
Kimmy Gibbler.
I was like, I think I know who that is.
She was the neighbor nobody liked.
You know, the thing, you showed me that one picture. I was like, oh, so that's the character nobody liked.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
You knew that?
yeah. No, I just knew looking at her that was what her character was.
Oh.
I never watched Full House ever.
And I did. I guess I was the right age. It was probably 7 or whatever. And I pretty much grew up with that TV show, like watching it all the time. So I watched the first episode of Fuller House and I was like, oh, this is so awful. Then I remembered, I mean, that's what Full House was too.
And then you watched the rest of the season.
No, I haven't watched it yet. It didn't suck me in, but I probably will.
Well, you need to now since they've renewed it for season 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be lost when season 2 starts.
But you know what's weird? Like, okay, this, I was like, wow, this is bad. But Full House was bad. But when I first watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, this is really bad. But then it grew on me, and I was like, oh, I get it. But I don't think I'm going to have that moment with Full House.
I think Kimmy Schmidt has now turned into my background noise show. I just finished my 3rd time through.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a good show. It's funny.
I like your yellow hat. From Jeff K. Do you like the Sony Performance? That phone looks sick. Well, we should get it some chicken soup.
Unfortunately, with the Performance, and you're talking about the Xperia X series, it's X, right? Man, all these phones are like
it's the X Performance,
X, XA, and X Performance. No, so they didn't let us play with them or touch them or anything. It was just face down and face up, I guess, on a. I think it was mostly face down anyway, on a table that we could take pictures of it, but you couldn't pick them up. They were like, it's just basically a dummy unit. So I couldn't really give you an opinion, but the phones looked great. I mean, not only that, but the X and the XA were really impressive. And when I first walked up to the booth, I think I wrote this in my hands on. I was like, "Oh, is that the Xperia Z5 like premium or whatever it was with the 4K display?" Because that display does look pretty nice in person. And then it was like 1080p. Like they've just done a really good job with the screens on those things. So it was they were nice. I don't know. Again, it's kind of like one of those things. Once I know the pricing and when it actually comes out, I mean, for example, the Xperia Z5 just came to the US, and now it's like, sure, it's Snapdragon 810 stuff. It's nice, but like, I mean, now the A20 phones are coming out, so it's hard to recommend. You know, like I wouldn't say buy that now, so I can't say anything about the X's until I know more.
From Sachin Bahal, more of a comment than a question. I enjoyed the MWC 2016 videos that had Ron in them. It was nice to see him in front of the camera. We need more videos with Ron. We agree.
We agree. We love Ron.
We love Ron, and we're trying. Ron is. It's not that he doesn't want to be on video. It's definitely not that we don't want him on video. He just is always trained to work behind the camera, and that's where he's most comfortable. But we're trying to draw him out because we think he has a great on-camera presence, and so we're trying, and hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit more of him on camera. But that is definitely the consensus around TechnoBuffalo, that there should be more Ron Parita on camera.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody needs more Ron. From Jeff K. Todd, do you have a thing for Kanye West, or do you find him as hilarious as I do?
I just find him hilarious, like you. This guy just going nuts on social media all the time. It's like he's lost his mind. I don't know. It's like hard to. When like yesterday we saw him fighting with Deadmau5, and like then he was on, all because he was on Pirate Bay looking at software to pirate that Deadmau5 worked on, like. I'm just like,
oh, I didn't catch that part of the story. Deadmau5 helped build that software?
Yeah, it's like his software. Maybe I didn't write that. Maybe. Anyway.
Oh.
It was just like, and then so Kanye's like making fun of him, calling him like Minnie Mouse or whatever, GG birthday parties, all kinds of silly stuff. And this is the guy who, was after Pirate. And it turned out, sorry, my brain's going ahead of me. But this is the guy who like was mad his album was on Pirate Bay, like suggesting he would sue the site. And then now comes back and says like he was just kidding, like that screenshot was just kidding. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
There's no way. He was
and just says he's $53 million in debt. Who knows? I mean, crazy. I did Tidal or whatever. I did the free trial so I could listen to his album, which I didn't think. I mean, I liked his older stuff when I was in college. God, that was a while ago, 10 years ago.
So
for me, yeah, but I liked him when he was a long time ago, and so I'm like, oh, well, let's listen to the new album. And I wasn't a huge fan. There's a couple of songs. Anyway.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it and don't plan to.
I just find him hilarious, just like you.
Yeah,
that's why I write about him.
He's interesting. From Sachin Bahal, do you think stuff like what LG is doing with the G5 will catch on, i.e. partly modular phones, or will it become a gimmick?
Well, we have to see if they've done it right, and that'll take a little bit of testing and see, how many of these modules come out. Is it popular? Are people buying it? Do they work well? These are things we don't know yet. And then I'll say if it's a gimmick or not. But I think eventually, if Project Aura and that idea catches on, it's great. I would guess phone makers don't want it to too much because it prevents consumers from buying their new model phone, right? So like if you could just spend $40 and replace the processor in your Galaxy S6 and the camera module to the new Snapdragon 820 and the new 12 megapixel camera, why would you go out and spend $800 on their new phone? So at some level, there's probably, like, oh, we don't want to do it. And I think that's why you see LG doing it a little bit differently, where it's like, turn your phone into a camera with this modular, boost the audio with this module, instead of replace something entirely. So I think it's very early, but we'll see if it's a gimmick or not.
Yeah. You've got a very good point, though. That could definitely hurt phone sales if I could just go, oh, well, I'll just slap a new processor in.
Yeah. I mean, people would be like, why would I ever buy a new phone? So I don't think we'll see manufacturers support that so soon.
From Jeff K, any rumors going on with Google I/O?
No, just the dates, and hopefully we should be there as usual. I think we will be there. I don't know if that's public knowledge.
about the only thing we know, and we don't know, but of course we figure we're going to see the next version of Android demoed. Yeah. It won't be a full demo, just as it isn't every year. Beyond that, who knows? Google always surprises us.
Yeah.
Let's just hope it's not like 2 years ago when they had that stupid machine start the show.
Oh, yeah. That was neat, though.
It was neat, but it was like, okay, please.
Yeah. I mean, for those of us like trying to get through the day, like reporting, it's like, all right, I got to watch.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, that's awesome. Just get to the news. We just want the news. From Sachin Bahal, is the NextBit Robin worth getting? Well, I don't know, Todd. Is it worth buying?
I don't know. I bought one, but it didn't arrive yet. My card was just billed, and I did the actually requested the I forget what they ended up.
You realize you have 2 phones on order.
Yeah. But they're totally different phones.
No one's asked this yet, Todd. What have you returned lately?
Oh, man. I almost canceled that Amazon order, but I was like, all right, I like it. But hold on. I got to explain why I have 2 phones on order. First, I really like the team at NextBit. Eric was a phone reviewer for Phone Scoop a long time ago, and I've worked with him for years through HTC. He worked at Microsoft on Skype, then went to NextBit. So great guy. And then Scott Croyle, I've also met several times, and he designed the 1M7 with the team and all that. And so he was the lead designer of the NextBit Robin. So it's not just that I was buying that phone for the phone, but more like supporting a team that I really like that makes great products. And so that's why I bought the NextBit Robin, and I'm excited to use it. I just don't have it yet. The Galaxy S7 Edge was just one of those things, if and when we get review units, like where do they go? Are they going to Irvine? Are they going here? It's one of those major phones that probably one of the biggest launches of the year besides the new iPhone. So one of those things where I was like, all right, I'm going to buy that too. Those are the reasons I bought it.
Ever watch that show, Hoarders?
Yeah.
You know how when they confront the person, they always have a rationalization?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm just curious if you've ever seen the show. I'm not saying anything. I just crossed my mind randomly.
I know, but for me, it's like collectibles too. I don't know. It's stupid.
Hey, Now you leave collectibles out of this.
Oh yeah, all right. So I just collect phones. They're just stupid expensive.
I don't have, like 10 IKEA glass cabinets in my house.
Full of collectibles.
Full of collectibles. Hey. Oh, good grief.
Also, I mean, we've talked about this, but there's something about owning your own phone. And then I do like to say, like, our commenters, for example, get very, very wound up about, like, oh, you're an iPhone guy, you're an Android guy. And it's, it's nice in the back of my conscience to know that I buy both. And I can, properly say, like, look, I've spent my money on this too. It's not just, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. And that's, a lot of times, when people ask me why I carry two phones, it really is so I can stay OS agnostic. I don't want anyone to ever be saying, well, you only use Apple products. No, I got an Android phone here too. And vice versa.
Right.
I use both systems. Yes, I know now. I'm sure somebody will go, well, if you really OS agnostic, you'd also carry a Windows phone. I'm not carrying 3 phones, people.
Yeah.
It's bad enough carrying 2. But good grief. From Brazen Franco, I'm expecting at Google I/O that Alphabet adds a new branch called Skynet dedicated for Internet of Things and presents Boston Dynamics Atlas robot to be the first robot connected to the Skynet network.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're all doomed.
Those robots are getting a little freaky. They're getting a little freaky and a little scary. Well, folks, that is going to wrap up this week's episode. Todd, did you have any final thoughts on MWC?
No, that's it.
All righty then. Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us. You can find the TechnoBuffalo Show by searching for us on iTunes, where we do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help out the show. You can also find us on Pocket Cast. You can subscribe via RSS feed, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show. Until next week, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the editor-in-chief of the site. I've been joined by Deputy Managing Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hi, everybody.
Until next time, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.